everybody, welcome to the review segment of the Three Quarters podcast, your official podcast for the 2018 Rugby Africa Gold Cup. Also remember to jump onto the hashtag Road to Japan to support your team as they look to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan. I'm Demima Dafio.
And I'm Ngaro Kamuya. Now, Rugby Africa partnered with APO Group to give you a chance to travel to Japan during the Rugby World Cup in 2019 and to get a chance to meet whoever's going to be the winner of the 2018 Rugby Africa Gold Cup. Of course, the winner of this year's Gold Cup is going to be Africa's representative on the global stage. So how do you do this? Head to the website africalovesrugby.com for more details.
Yep, this is really exciting.
It is very exciting.
I mean, I think I'd take part if I wasn't, part of the podcast. It looked like rigging.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
It's a brilliant opportunity, and whoever wins it, I can only imagine the experience that they're going to have. Number one, to be in Japan during the Rugby World Cup, and number two, to have a chance to meet Africa's representatives on the global stage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Guys should definitely head on there. I mean, this is not something that comes around every day.
That's true.
So yeah, take advantage of it.
That's true.
So we look at match day 2. Mm-hmm. First game was Namibia versus Tunisia. I 118 to 0 to Namibia.
Yeah.
To be honest, we did expect and predict a win for Namibia.
Yeah.
But I don't think we saw it being that bad. I mean, we hadn't seen Tunisia before, so we weren't quite sure, how they'd play.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone expected that scoreline.
I don't think anyone did expect that scoreline. Primarily because, last year, there was a similar scoreline during last year's Gold Cup. Tunisia lost 110 to Kenya, and everyone knew it was because Tunisia didn't field their best players.
Exactly, and they did this time.
Exactly. Okay, it's questionable, some of them.
Yeah.
But everyone thought that Tunisia were going to present their best players, and therefore this was not going to be the case. Unfortunately, that was not the case. This time, their conditioning was nowhere close to ready for such a competition. You could see quite a number of unfit players. In the first 20-30 minutes, you could see Tunisia was struggling. And as a result of that, Namibia had a field day. They executed their plays to precision. The forwards created a very good platform for the backs. Namibia are known for keeping it tight to the forwards and grinding it, but you actually saw the forwards running, which was very, very entertaining. And that happening, of course, then gives quality ball for the backs. Never at any one time were Tunisia in the game. You know how in a normal game or in sports you'd expect that there would be phases, and there's a time that Tunisia would be in the game. That didn't happen.
Did not happen. No, it definitely didn't. No.
That did not happen. Namibia dominated every facet of the game. The lineouts, the forward play, the molds, the scrummaging. They dominated each and every facet of the game. And for me, what was just interesting is the fact that because of how their forwards were superior on the day, I think it gave their backs.
They had a field day.
They did have a field day, and it gave their backs some confidence. So there's some mistakes that Coach Phil Davies needs to work on. Some little mistakes, and the most unfortunate thing about such games is that you think you had a blind of a game and you forget about working on the small issues that you had, and then you come up again a superior opposition the next week, and it becomes a problem. But on the day, Namibia played champagne rugby. That's what they call it. They played champagne rugby, and as much as it was not competitive, there were a couple of what is it called, plays that really had a neutral entertained.
Although we can't forget the fact that Namibia did get a yellow card for a dangerous tackle. Now I mean, to be honest, I just think that's unnecessary as a player. You're so many points up. I mean, even if you didn't catch him or you didn't tackle, he would have gotten tackled at some point. So that for me was a bit of a downer, from the Namibians, because I was like, why? That was totally unnecessary.
And in that particular instance you're talking about, actually it was Rowan Kitchoff who was playing number 6, who was blindside flanker yesterday, or rather over the weekend. In that particular instance, what happened is that Kitchoff was the last person to the tackle. There were already 2 people in the tackle, and he went high. But I remember also the commentator, one of them being Jacques Bag, former captain of Namibia, saying that Kitchoff is one of those players who gives everything. He's a wholehearted kind of player, and it would explain how he went into the tackle and with no regard for his body. Unfortunately, as he did that, he also had no regard for the
other person's body. Exactly.
And was it a deserved yellow card? Yes, it was a deserved yellow card.
Definitely. For Tunisia, however, they got a yellow card as well, and I'm like, you're losing. You're losing badly. And then you still manage to get a yellow. I mean, your discipline should be on point.
At the very least, your discipline should be on point. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for Tunisia. Look, it was a very poor show from Tunisia, I think. Fine, they'll give whatever reasons they want to give. Yes, Namibia is superior opposition, but at such a level, I don't think you should be losing 118-0.
Yep.
You could, like I'm saying, you could tell their conditioning was off. You could tell they haven't worked on, the nitty-gritties of their game, and that came out in drops. Okay, there's the fact that they also haven't played any game this year, but that came out full in the game against Namibia. And at this level, which is a World Cup qualifier, I don't think you should be going through that. So Namibia do have a lot of work, but at the same time, let's also just be honest, Namibia did have a good game.
Yeah. You mentioned Tunisia and what they need to work on. One of the things is decision making. I remember at some point, the fullback gets the ball and he's in the red zone, so he's in his defensive 22 and decides to run it.
Yes.
And not run it away from a defense, as in it was almost straight to the person coming to the ball. And I'm like, priority at that point is get the ball out. You're already in your 22.
Yes.
Kick the ball out, even if it goes straight out.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yes.
Those are just things that you look at and you're like, wow, you really did not have a good day.
No, they didn't have a good day. And again, like we're saying, it's like they didn't have a game plan, and that was very evident on the day when they played Namibia. Yeah.
So for this game, before we wrap it up and move on to the next game, we have our bad man of the game.
Yes.
Now, for me, I just thought, honestly, there was too much. There's too much going on. The Namibians just kind of rained down on the Tunisians. It was like what's mine is mine and what's yours is also mine.
Yes.
Situation. So who was your bad man?
There are a couple of guys for me. I think Vian Condradi, who's playing number 8, had a good game. He ran the ball pretty, in terms of ball carrying especially. Eugene Yantis, number 9, also had a very decent game. Cliven Lobsha always has a good game. I think he commanded the backline very well. Chrysander Bota at number 15, scoring a hat-trick on the day. Also had a good game. Johan Greiling, who's playing second center, had a good game. I think about Rowan Kitchoff at number 6. He also had a standard game. But I think for me, the person who stood out the most was Leslie Klim at number 14. He's running. He had very powerful runs. He created a couple of the tries, and he scored 3 tries on the day.
Yep.
So I think for me, my bad man of this game is Leslie Klim, Namibia number 14.
Yep.
Yeah.
So well done to the Namibian number 14 and the whole Namibian team.
Yeah.
But so now we move on to the second game, which was Morocco hosting Kenya.
Yes.
And scoreline was 28-24 to the Kenyans. Not a bad performance from both sides, but I think we expected a little more from the Kenyans. With the different game plan, I guess we saw how that played out.
Yes.
With the Moroccans, they came out guns blazing, just like their first game. Hit the ground running. They created, the overlaps. You draw a man and then pass the ball out, and that caught the Kenyans a few times on their back foot.
Yes.
So I think the Moroccans played well in that game.
No, they did. It was a scary result for Kenya. Everyone expected that Kenya are going to have pretty comfortable game and beat Morocco. Yes, of course, Morocco are going to be a problem for Kenya, and especially taking into account that Kenya has only beaten Morocco once in out of 3 encounters. Morocco had their upper hand on Kenya, so everyone thought that. Primarily due to what we've seen, the improvement we've seen in the Kenyan game for the last 5-6 years, everyone thought that Kenya were going to come out on top, but Morocco had other plans. They dominated. Oh my God, Morocco's forwards were dominant. They dominated the scrum in the first half. Their molds were unstoppable off the line out, and for me, I think the reason why Morocco did dominate as such is because in Kenya's tight 5, they only had 33 caps actually.
Yep.
Out of the 33 caps in the tight 5, 30 belonged to Oliver Manyani.
Yep.
So you had a front row that had Patrick Ouko and Joseph Odero on their second caps, Cole Manuere making his debut, Andrew Chogo on his second cap. And at this level, I think you need a bit more experience.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the exposure that happened. But as the game went on and Kenya settled down a bit more, and we were able to see their flashes of brilliance when the backline got moving, and primarily because of the quality ball that was being provided as a result of the forwards now stepping up with the introduction of Curtis Lilako, Moses Amsala,
Peter Carrier
in the front row. Then the game eased up and Kenya were able to match up, at least in scrummaging.
Yep.
Their lineouts were terrible until Peter Carrier got in. Moroccans had a brilliant game in terms of lineout and mauling. I liked the fact that Morocco also did set up a good platform for their forwards, and their backs are pretty expansive. And as you say, like, they suck in two defenders and they create the overlap. Yeah. And they gave Kenya a run for their money. And it just goes to ask, everyone was talking about the interesting selections and positional switches that had been made by Kenyan head coach Ian Snook.
Yep.
For example, Darwin Mkhize was at number 10, and everyone is used to him at number 5, at number 15 or number 14.
Yep.
So there was that. There was the issue of Biko Adema. Yes, Biko Adema is a utility player. That was not really a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a those positional switches. I think you could say that Kenya had not really meshed.
Yeah.
And Morocco were able to exploit that. I want to, however, point out to one thing. The officiating in this game was very questionable. And both sides. There were calls that were made that did not make sense at all. And it was to both sides. The ref was not consistent. And as a result, then we had a pretty scrappy game
at some point.
So I think they need to work on the officiating.
Yeah.
But all in all, for the neutrals, it was a nail-biting game.
Oh, definitely.
Until the 80th minute.
Yeah. The introduction of the more experienced forwards definitely, had an impact on the Kenyan team. But also one thing that I like the fact that, in every game, but also in rugby, you're constantly learning. I remember at some point you could see the shock, or rather the surprise, on the Kenyan players' faces when Morocco scored a try right at the base of the post. Yes. And I don't think many people know that, if the line does not sort of present itself, you can put the ball at the base of the post, and that is a try. Yeah. I remember I think it was George Nyambua looking up like, wait, what just happened? What just happened?
And I like the fact that the commentator actually brought it out. He said there's something that's very good about this Morocco team, and it's the basics. Yeah. The basics of rugby and the knowledge of the game, they had it. And I think had that game gone on for another 10 minutes, the Kenyans would have been talking about a different story for the Kenyans. So yes, as you say, it's good. And that's the beauty of rugby, is that every time you go and watch a rugby game, there's something new about the game.
Yep. Yeah. Also, there's the fact that Kenya did get a yellow card at some point, and you cannot afford to do that in a tight game. It doesn't help your team at all. Yeah. You're already not doing, as well as maybe you could be doing, and now you're a man down. Yeah. Which now, for the Moroccans, that's just like hallelujah. Yes. Now the overlap is definitely going to be created. Yeah,
and it was a back. Ed Munanya was given a yellow card, or he was sent to the bin. But at the same time, and that's why I was saying the officiating was quite questionable, because on the other hand, I'm trying to remember the Moroccan player, but they took out the Kenya captain for a high ball. Yes, he had no intention of going for the ball, but no card was given, a penalty was given for Morocco, and that's what I'm saying. There are quite some questionable calls. Morocco's try at the end, why was it disallowed? So the officiating was very shaky, and I think that did make the game not as interesting as I think it should have been. Yeah. But all in all, congratulations to the Kenyans. They did grind out the win, but more so, congratulations to Morocco. Everyone thought it was going to be a walk in the park for Kenya, and it wasn't. It wasn't a walk in the park.
Yep, very well done to both teams. Yeah. So now for this game, I do actually have a bad man of the match. Yeah. And my bad man is actually Tony Onyango. Yes. And that is because when he needed to, he stepped up. Yeah. Yes, they were set plays, but I think if it wasn't for those tries, I don't think Kenya would have gotten back into it as quickly, or even gotten back into it at all.
Yeah, he scored 2 tries, one of an inside switch down Mkhize, and the second one of a blindside move from Samson Onsomu, and then he was quick to notice that there was a gap there, and his speed and his explosive burst of speed. While you choose Tony Onyango, I choose to go for Samson Onsomu purely because of his distribution. Yeah. His distribution was exceptional on the day. Tony Onyango's try was primarily because of Samson Onsomu's vision. For my bad man for this game is going to be Samson Onsomu.
All right, so very well done to them. Very well done to both teams. We'll see everyone next week. Well, not next week, actually, on Friday, right?
Yes.
For the preview before the next 2 games.
Exactly.
But guys, make sure you watch these games. Nail-biting stuff. Also remember, you can find us on social media by following us on Instagram, liking our page on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Demi Maduffield.
And I'm Naro Kamuya.
Stay tuned for the preview.